Nasty. Custard's last stand. Warning. This is a horror story. So this is how it happened. We told Junior to tell us when the next delivery was due, and we told him exactly what he had to do. About a week later, Junior comes rushing in. I'm on an unloading job right now. If you've got plans, then now's the time. Custard was in his fort doing his paperwork, as he used to call it. Junior was unloading the boxes. So Maeve and me are hiding behind the back door, waiting for Junior to give us the signal. We're waiting for him to get the driver, right? To get the driver into his cab. He does it, tips us the wink, and we're out the back door and into the back of the truck. Junior closes the doors, but he doesn't lock them. He bangs twice on the back. OK, you're away, he shouts to the driver, and we were off. I couldn't believe we were doing it. Sitting in the back of a truck going, who knows where? And that Maeve, she's sitting there as calm as if she's on a bus. Well, heaven knows how long the trip was. Thing is, the driver, he had a little window at the back of his cab so that he could see into his truck. Of course, it was dark, but Maeve was forever sitting up and looking out, trying to make out where we were. She goes, I think this is Wellsden. And then she goes, I know where we are, Clapham, which is right over the other side of London. And then she goes, we're in Hackney now, and that's right over the other side from Clapham, isn't it? And all the time, there was this smell. The smell of old yum-yum burgers. Can you imagine? Locked up in prison with a mouldy yum-yum burger. Anyway, we drive on, right? And finally, the truck stops. The driver gets out. I stopped breathing. This is it, I thought. We're going to be found out now. He's going to open the doors, and here we are looking like a pair of spare lemons. We listened, and his footsteps went away. Where were we? OK, girl, says Maeve. What are we going to do? Well, let's take a look. And we opened the door just a little bit and peeped out. And we were in some kind of backyard. We could see it was piled high with old boxes, cardboard ones, wooden ones. And I was just about to open the door a bit more when a fella come out. So I pulled the door back. And I just had time to see him. He had an old white coat on. And it was covered in old blood. Spots, splodges and smears of it. And he had a box in his hand and he chucked it onto one of the piles and went back inside. OK, I said, it's now or never. And we jumped out the back of the truck, hopped across the yard and hid behind some of the boxes. I looked at Maeve's face. Where are we, for heaven's sake, she whispered. Search me, I said. Search me? Well, what is this place? I don't know, I said. And the yard, smelt like pig bins. Awful. Rotting dinners. They don't make yum-yum burgers here, do they? Well, they don't make paper aeroplanes, do they? And then I caught sight of something. It was a bit of paper sticking out between two boxes. I looked. It was what was written on it. George Watson and Sons Limited, Animal Disposal and Pet Food Supplies. And underneath was a little picture of a horse on a donkey standing side by side. Below this, right, was printed like a bill with money, and I handed it to Maeve. That piece of paper said everything. Custard was buying up meat from a knacker's yard where they kill old donkeys and horses and stuff and shipping it to turn into hamburgers instead of it going into pet food. He could be put away for this, says Maeve. All I could think of was poor old Grace. I just stared at that little tiny picture of the horse on the donkey. And then Maeve was in there with, hey, have a look at this, will you? And it was another one of those bits of paper. And on this one it said, Outback Foods Limited, Russ Mackie, Sydney, Australia. And on this one, there's a little black and white picture as well. And cross my heart, sure to die, if it isn't a picture of a blessed kangaroo. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. We were standing in the backyard of a place where dead horses, donkeys and kangaroos went in and hamburgers came out. Amazing. We had blown Custard's whole little game. The truck with nothing written on the side, the plain cardboard boxes, everything blown with 2 bits of paper. For Maeve, though, that wasn't enough. We've got to get a closer look at this place. And she pointed to the side of the building. There was a row of dirty little windows all along the wall by some bins and plastic bags and stuff, right? We made a dash for it so as not to be spotted and got to the side of the building. And Maeve climbed up onto one of the bins and looked in. "What can you see?" I asked. She didn't answer. Next, she climbed down from the bin and her face was white, like all the colour had been wiped out of it. Well, I was just about to climb up on the bin myself, but looking at her face, it kind of held me back for a moment. Then out the corner of my eye I saw something move, coming round the end of the building. It was one of those men in their white overalls covered in blood. "He's got a meat axe in his hand," Maeve shouts, and we ran. We belted down the alley by the side of the building, and at the end there was this fence right in front of us. We looked back, and the bloke with the meat axe was climbing over the bins, coming for us. Then Maeve took one more look at the fence, and then kicked. She gave about 3 big kicks, and a panel in the fence fell out. She shoved me through, climbed through herself, and we were in someone's backyard. This awful place backed onto someone's house. Just imagine it, living next door to somewhere that they mashed up dead donkeys. Standing in the backyard was an old fella looking at his pigeons. Well, he had been looking at his pigeons before we burst in. By the time we got there, the pigeons were all around him and he was staggering back with them flying all over the place. We didn't give him time to see anything else. Maeve pushed me down this alley beside the house and we ran down there through this little gate and into the street. By now I was thinking, there could be 2 of them after us, the fellow with the meat axe and the fellow with the pigeons. Well, I tell you, I didn't dare look over my shoulder. Down the street we went, running hell for leather, round the corner, and there was a row of shops. The first was a junk shop. We took one look at it and we were in. There we were, panting for all our worth, pretending to look at old electric fires. Yeah, really good. And second-hand comics. Oh, yeah. I was dying to run round and look through that window. Any second now, I imagined I'd see 2 men running past with pigeons and meat axes flying round them. "Whew. Well, after that," said the Bakerloo Flea woman, "there's not much more to tell you." "What do you mean?" I said. "Well, that's it. You know everything now," she says. "Well, hang on," I said, "hang on. Did anyone catch you?" "Oh, no, they never caught us. I wouldn't be here to tell you if they had, would I?" she said. "And you never told me what Maeve saw through the window." "Do you know," she said, "I've never found out. Maeve never told me. Oh, many's the time I asked her, but she never said. I've just had to imagine it." "And what about the Yum Yum Burger Bar?" "Ah, well," said the Bakerloo Flea woman, "the day after we got back to Yum Yum's, we told everyone, before Custard swaggered in at his usual time. There was talk all over the place about what to do, police, the health people, everything. A walkout maybe by all of us. Well, while all this was going on and people were shouting and getting excited all over the place, Maeve was writing all over the walls and windows with a whacking great felt tip pen, things like, 'Don't touch the donkey burgers' and 'We serve kangaroo burgers here.'" Can you imagine Custard's face when he walked in that morning? It was a case of Custard's last stand. You remember? Old General Custard was the bloke who was surrounded by Indians and finished off. We told him we weren't working another minute in this place till the Yum Yums had been looked at. So there was nothing he could say to that. And it wasn't long before our General Custard was surrounded by the council health people. Yeah, the place was closed down. And that was that. The Bakerloo Flea woman looked at me and she said, "Yeah, I was up that way a month ago. The shop where it was is some sort of video place now. And do you know what was in the window? You'll never guess. A big poster of True Grit, yeah, with a giant picture of John Wayne standing there. I could have died." "Don't say that," I said, and looked at my hamburger. But she wasn't listening. "Oh, there's my bus," she said, and before I could say goodbye or anything else, she was out the door and away, and I took one more look at my hamburger. I don't think I'll finish that just now, I thought. And I walked out the shop into the high street. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe to this channel, well, you can click on subscribe. If you want to like something, just click on like. And you can leave a comment as well, that's always nice. And don't forget my website, Michael Rosen, all one word, michaelrosen.co.uk.